So let's talk about the New York Knicks and their struggles against the top teams who are championship contenders in the NBA. They're 0-7 against the Cavs, the Thunder, and the Celtics. And the majority of those games, they've been terrible. They haven't been good. The games have not been competitive. And you've got legit concerns if you're a Knicks fan. You're probably wondering, this team is not ready yet to make a finals run. We don't have the roster to compete with these guys. And how can we get to a point where we can not only beat these guys, but show the NBA we're a real threat? And that's a valid question. Now, I do want to talk about the positives. When it comes to Karl Anthony Towns, the Knicks won this trade, clear as day. He's second in the NBA in rebounding. You look at his shooting splits, he's at 25 points a game. Obviously, his rim protection, 0.8 blocks. He's not the best rim protector. I think the Knicks could use a center alongside him. Maybe Mitchell Robinson would be it. We'll talk about him a little bit later. But Karl Anthony Towns, 53% from the field, 43% from three. I love the fact he's only taken 4.8 threes a game. And those attempts are about this, are a little bit down from last year. And his rebounding is up. And I just think he's been a perfect fit next to Jalen Brunson. Now, when it comes to the big man position, and you're looking at Mitchell Robinson, I think he's great when he's healthy, but when is he healthy? Because he's not durable, unfortunately. I love his energy. I love his rim protection. I love his rebounding. But if I'm the New York Knicks and I'm going to the offseason, I got to ask myself a lot of tough questions. How can I upgrade this roster and who should I move off of? Now, you look at the Celtics situation, how they got better. They moved off Robert Williams III. It was a tough decision to make, but the guy couldn't stay healthy. And they look at the longevity of Robert Williams III, and they look at a guy like Kristaps Porzingis. Obviously, that was risky, but Kristaps has been good. I think if you're the Knicks, I'm looking at a guy like Claxton, and I'm looking at him to play alongside Towns, if you can get him. If you can't do that, for a guy like Mitchell Robinson, I don't know the whole cap situation, but maybe he would be the first piece you introduce to the Nets, and maybe they entertain it. I don't know. But if that doesn't work out, I'm looking at upgrading my bench and adding another small forward to give OG and Mikal Bridges some rest because they're playing a ton of minutes. Mikal Bridges at 38 minutes a night, OG and Obi 36 minutes a night. They need another guy they can trust off that bench besides Miles McBride. I know Precious does play some minutes. They need to upgrade the backup center position. So those are two things that the Knicks need to figure out is their front court positions to have someone play alongside Cat, someone who can rim protect, rebound the basketball, maybe not shoot the three, but athletic. That's why I think Claxton would be perfect for the Knicks. And you move Towns to his natural position, which is power forward. And you shore up that front line with Towns and Claxton. We saw how good Towns played alongside Rudy Gobert when the Timberwolves did make their Western Conference Finals run. But I just think the Knicks got to figure out their big man position and their bench. So maybe you give Tyler Kolek a bigger role. You did draft him. I think he could be the backup point guard. You start with McBride. You start with Kolek. You add another wing. And then you have to look at the situation with Mikal Bridges. Now, this is not a shot at Mikal Bridges, but I'm just looking at the guys who he's competing with. Is he better than a guy like Donovan Mitchell? No, he's not. Is he better than Jaylen Brown? No, he's not. So if you're trying to have Mikal Bridges compete with these guys, should I go out and explore my options? If I'm the Knicks, maybe I consider a guy like Zach LaVine. And if you can pull him away from Sacramento, you've upgraded the shooting guard position. And OG, he's more of a defensive menace than an offensive player. That takes pressure off of him. But Mikal this season hasn't been terrible, but since the All-Star break, he's shooting 31% from three, 43% from the field, hasn't been that great. And then if you look at even like last season for Mikal Bridges, just the numbers themselves, his 3-point percentage is down. His shooting percentage, that's been up, so that's good. But I just don't know if you want to rely on him. Now, am I saying to trade him this offseason? No. But I know his contract is up in 2026. So if you go into next season and you're not getting enough progress against the championship contender teams like the Cavs, the Celtics, and also the OKC Thunder, whoever else enters that conversation, then you have to start asking yourself, who in my rotation do I need to move off from to upgrade my roster to get to a championship level team? Because you look at the Celtics, what they did. You traded Marcus Smart. You traded Brogdon. You traded Robert Williams III. And you brought back Jrue Holiday. You brought back Porzingis, and they haven't looked back since. So if I'm the Knicks, you just have to ask yourself some honest questions. I mean, Mikal is great, but maybe he doesn't fit on the Knicks, and that's fine. That's not a shot at Mikal Bridges. When you're trying to build a championship level roster, you have to make some changes. You have to be honest about the roster. And sometimes you got to take some risk. I know they gave up 5 first-round draft picks for Mikal Bridges. That's a lot of assets they gave out. But in the end, you got to do what you got to do. So I'm not going to knock the Knicks front office for trying to be competitive. However, if you're looking at Mikal, maybe he's the odd man out. Maybe a guy like Josh Hart, and I hate to say that, Josh Hart is undersized. Maybe you bring him off the bench, or maybe you move off of him as well. So you build around Cat and Brunson, because your cornerstone pieces, in my opinion, is still OG Anunoby, because I love his defense, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Jalen Brunson. I think outside of those guys, everyone else who is part of their core roster is tradable. Because again, you're trying to upgrade and make the roster better and more talented. I'm not taking Mikal Bridges over a guy like Donovan Mitchell. Even a DeAndre Hunter, he's probably on the same level as a Mikal Bridges. So again, you just have to be honest with yourself and ask yourself, okay, can this team get to a point where we can win a championship? And if the answer is no by next year, you're looking at the trade deadline and you're trying to make some radical moves, you should move off Mikal Bridges. You should also trade Mitchell Robinson, because he can't stay healthy. You should add firepower to your bench, and then you go from there. Look, I still think the Knicks are going to be a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference just because of the talent they have in this roster. I can't put the Knicks in the same conversations as the Celtics and the Cavaliers. Now, going into the offseason, I do believe the Knicks are going to make some big-time moves, because I don't think they're going to remain content. They haven't shown that in the past 2 seasons. I think what we're going to see from the Knicks GM is Gerson Rosas. I hope I said that name right. Is he doesn't just settle. You see him making trades, trying to make the roster better. He'll look at the situation and go, okay, we've got our cornerstone pieces. Cat was a great move. We need to acquire draft capital, and also we need to upgrade our talent. And I think you got to take a shot at a guy like Kolek, because you look at what the Celtics have done with Payne Pritchard, Sam Hauser. They've developed those guys. Even Neemias Queta has looked good at times. Cornette has looked good. So you got to look at your player development, because we know about the cap situation. If you don't have enough money, you can't re-sign guys like Isaiah Hartenstein. They couldn't afford him and keep him around New York. So the Knicks just have to be honest with themselves. And if they're trying to get to that next level, you're going to have to make some hard decisions. Look, the talent is there, but maybe they can't reach championship level expectations, and that's okay. When you're trying to build a contender, there's going to be situations where you have to make moves that might not be popular, but make sense to improve the roster. So I don't think the Knicks are far off. I just think they got to make some moves where they retool things and build around Cat and Brunson. This is the first version you're seeing, and it doesn't look good, especially when you're getting wiped off the court by those championship level teams. And if that continues next year, then the next concern I have is, should I fire Tom Thibodeau? Because look, I think he is a good coach, but we've seen situations where he runs his starting lineup to the ground. And if the Knicks do end up improving this bench and Tibbs doesn't give those guys enough opportunities, or let's just say he doesn't play Kolek next year enough, then I'm starting to wonder, Tibbs got to go. Look, he's gotten them to the second round, but if that's their ceiling with this coach, maybe you need a new coach in the locker room, a new voice. You saw with the Cavs, hiring Kenny Atkinson, what that has done for the franchise. Maybe you need to go young, because we see a guy like Ime Udoka, Joe Mazzulla, and of course, Kenny Atkinson get back in the mix. Assistants do well when they transition, so I don't know who the Knicks should target, but maybe moving off of Tibbs would be a good idea just to change things up and see if that changes anything for the Knicks. So there's a lot of questions here, but I'm not going to panic. I'm not giving up on the New York Knicks. I do believe next year they're going to win the championship. I know that sounds crazy to some people. I'm a Celtics fan, but I believe in Jalen Brunson. I believe in Karl-Anthony Towns. And I think the Knicks are right there. I love OG Anunoby. I think he was a great pickup. I just think they got to do some retooling in the offseason. That's just my opinion. I think you got to figure out the center position, because unfortunately, Mitchell Robinson can't stay healthy. It's a very unfortunate thing, because he's a problem when he's healthy. It's just there's been so many injuries with him. And I think the Knicks need to be honest about their front court and make some significant upgrades and get back to a solid bench so they can go into next season competing with the Cavs and the Celtics and the Thunder, and they'll be right back in the thick of things. That's what I think can happen. And yeah, that's maybe a wild prediction to some people, but I do believe in this team, and I think they're not that far away, in my opinion. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how the Knicks are struggling against the top teams in the NBA. What do you think they needed to fix this roster to be championship level contenders? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.